we have not lost track of what we are doing. We have a patent in India. Those conferences were dominated by the Europeans or the South Africans or even the Russians. We are the only company in India who have a patented electrode. People are conscious of buying Chinese equipment, at least in our industry in India. In Pune, we have the best of everything. Manufacturing, automation, skilled people. The product should speak for itself. So employment creation हा महत्वाचा aspect आहे. म्हणून we are धडपड चालू आहे to spend on R&D. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Pathfinders, our podcast series from Success Alchemists, in which we bring to you the success stories of founders and CEOs of industries from various verticals and various geographies. As the name itself suggests, Pathfinders is all about prominent and successful personalities from businesses who have been able to find path which can be drawn by overcoming the hurdles and obstacles. I'm really happy that today we have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Tushar Ghalsasi, the Managing Director at Ghalsasi Group, and it is a great privilege to be able to share that story with each one of you. Thank you so much, Tushar, for having spare time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Despite being a Saturday and the weekend just before Diwali, he has been able to spare some time from his schedule, and I'm really thankful to him. And I look forward to something really interesting during the conversation today.
Likewise.
How about we start with where this is a niche industry where you have been a prominent name for almost 4 decades now. And it is a fairly long time given the shelf life of companies these days. What is it that you think has ticked things for you?
I believe few things which have ticked for us. Basically, we have not lost our focus on the end goal. When we started, my father started in 1986. So the idea was to find an industry which has a gap in India. And what we have focused on is time and again, every year by year, we have not lost track of what we are doing. There have been a lot of other new opportunities which we saw, but we took a chance, we took a risk, a calculative risk that we should focus on one industry, become the master, become a specialized industry, so that we are a name not only in India but all across the globe. So we have probably, I believe, sticking to one niche industry, working on that and creating a brand name which can simplify, which can signify trust, is one of the core things what we believe we have been able to sustain for so long.
Well, this is very interesting because most of the companies after the inception and having grown to a certain level actively look for diversification. They move to either a different industry vertical or they innovate their products into a completely different line. But you have continued to be there. Started this company in 1986. We started as consulting. So there was no manufacturing or supply at that point in time. We are talking almost 40 years ago. So in a journey from 86 to 96, we realized that there will be definitely some scope for supplying what we are consulting. Then the technology what was available at that point in time was all European technology or Russian technology in India. So from 1996 onwards, probably 10 years after he started consulting, we ventured into making what we were consulting on a small scale. We realized that if we have to now take it a level up and to be relevant and to have a niche in our industry again, we need a technology which we can call our own technology. We cannot rely on something which has been kind of engineered or re-engineered in India from the old systems what came into the country in the early 50s or the early 60s. So from 2006 to 2010-12, we invested a lot of time, energy and money in developing equipment which are patentable, not only in India. We have a patent in India now, but our aim is to have that patent spread across the whole world. So with that patented technology, then we could scale our industry outside of India to make a niche for our brand
because we already had created a name in India for the last 25-30 years. So our collective vision when I joined was the name what we have created in India. Now the name has to be there all across the world.
One of the interesting things about how other industry verticals perceive different countries in terms of what they produce goes by eventually what becomes the brand equity. For example, in automobiles, Japanese are known for their high quality output, which leads to durability. I'm sure in your industry, there must have been some norms. But about 10 years ago, when you ventured into international markets and started to export, you must have faced some...
Interestingly, I started attending a lot of conferences related to our industry in India. So those conferences were dominated by the Europeans or the South Africans or even the Russians. So when we were at a nascent stage, when I joined, I used to talk to these people as well, saying that, we have 50 references, we have 100 references. And the Europeans were like, well, that's fine, but we have almost 800 references. So, that was a turning point in the sense that of course, those are legacy companies.
Yeah.
But what I felt is definitely there is a potential that if we have something unique of our own in the industry itself, we can also aim to become a legacy company. Because the reason that they are sustaining for 100 years, the Europeans, is because something, it is unique, as you said correctly, to them. So in the furnace also, there is a part which is the heart of the furnace. It's called the electrode system. The electrode system. That's the heart. So if we want to equate it with a car, electrode is something which is unique in our industry.
Okay.
So then we focused all our energies to develop and patent the electrode, which is the heart, what we call, of the entire ecosystem of a furnace plant. So 2006 to 2013 went into developing our own heart, which is the electrode system. And I'm very happy and proud to say that we are the only company in India who have a patented electrode. That's why we thought that why don't we come into the picture where we can bridge this gap of offering top class technology, because in India, in Pune, we have the best of everything: manufacturing, automation, skilled people. So I believe there is a big gap yet, that the perception had to change eventually, that why can't India also have its own technology? So it took a lot of time. So unless and until we offered them something which is patented, unless we demonstrated that what we are supplying is at par or even better, probably, what you have experienced in the past few years. So our project in the Middle East with our patent system was a benchmark where we demonstrated that, everything is made in India. Our people went there to install it. So it was a concept to commissioning plant entirely developed, conceptualized, made in India and installed in Oman.
Oman.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was a turning.
Prepare yourself for troughs, because it's very easy to prepare for the crest, but the troughs are where the trick starts.
Correct. On the crest part, before going to the trough part, I would not say it is easy. What happens is it's easier because we are located in this region of MIDC Bosri. Because what happens is this is a huge township in itself. Fully developed space, great infrastructure, amazing quality of people, and we can manufacture everything under the sun in MIDC Bosri. So that helps us to scale up immediately.
Right.
So we have focused on a very lean asset model concept where we own very few critical areas. So we have 2 workshops of our own.
Right.
But there we do only critical fabrication and assembly. And for the last 30 years, we have developed our partner vendors all across, wherein whenever there is a high rise, whenever there is a surge of demand, we can easily scale up. So our success also has been that we have kept the fixed cost low. We have to, because of the cycles. We have to.
Right.
The main idea is we have to keep our fixed costs as low as possible, but not dilute technology and quality and people. So again, coming back to the thing that we have to hire very great people.
Right.
Probably they can do a job of 2 people, because when there is a low,
there are very few companies who have been able to sustain for such a long time and continue to grow, driven by innovation. And going by what you explained, that in another 10 to 12 years, the size of the company will grow up to 500.
The idea is that companies should employ 500 people. The main employment creation is also one of the kind of visions what we have. So employment creation हा महत्वाचा aspect आहे.
Right.
म्हणून we are धडपड चालू आहे to spend on R&D, to have a larger market share, to grow, create a market outside India. This which will result in employment creation.
Right.
The other way around.
In the long run, what kind of skills do you think that the youths, the local youths, should continue to acquire so that they continue to stay increasingly employable and lead a much more prosperous life?
Correct.
How do you look at it?
I would believe the quality of education, what's happening right now, to my experience and understanding, is not a level that everybody who comes out is employable, unfortunately. So having a basic education definitely helps. But I would recommend that internships, working with engineering companies or any field, any field what you choose to work on, whatever your goals are. After education, spend time, or even during education, shadow somebody. Just sit in an organization, just sit in a workshop, just sit in the IT industry. Of course, nobody will pay you, but invest time in educating yourself other than the books. Because that, if you demonstrate to your employer, he will keep aside the degree. But if you are useful in one small thing, what you can do, what you have learned in all your experience in working for free, or just being there or supporting your somebody through your colleagues, कोणतरी असेल in your family who is able to link you to somebody, and you are not charging, you are just being there to help and learn. So I believe that instead of book education, you will have to look out, to reach out and ask that, let me just sit and shadow your company. I'll be there waiting, observing and helping you wherever I can. So few hours every day, or that will help a lot, rather than just having an engineering. And I'm just saying engineering because we are in an engineering company, but any degree. मला तरी वाटेल, मी पण शिक्षण केले, आपल्याकडे खूप वेळ असतो. सो त्याच्यामध्ये जेवढं तुम्ही एक्सपोजर घ्याल इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये और रिअल लाईफ एक्झाम्पलमध्ये, सो त्याचा 4 वर्ष ते 3 वर्ष कुठलाही इंजिनिअरिंग, कुठलाही कोर्स असतो शिक्षणाचा, त्याच्यामध्ये भरपूर वेळ मिळेल. सो सोशल मीडिया फॉर our industry, we spoke earlier that we had to first create the heart. So to create the heart and to sustain it, we had no choice but to invest time and energy and funds in innovation and bringing on new technology. So I believe that once you don't have any other option, then you are forced to do something where it's like a do or die situation. Once you're faced with a wall, you have to do something.
Right.
In a way, so we didn't keep much options for ourselves. If you have a plan B, then you can kind of relax.
Right.
So probably my view is, if you don't have a plan B, then you have to make sure by hook or crook plan A has to successful. And especially manufacturing, which, as you said, is laggard, it's slow, and we have chosen to be in a niche industry. So we are focusing everything in a way that we 100% make sure that there is plan A is to maintain quality and to be at a level that we spread our installation all across the globe. And then I don't see a plan B.
As much as I enjoyed conversing with Tushar today, I'm sure you also found it really enriching. And as usual, here are my 3 takeaways from today's conversation. The first one, and I really like it, is continuous learning. Every single day, a new experience must teach us something new, something different that enriches us further. And I could see that how deeply is this imbibed in the culture of the company here, that the company focuses on continuous learning of its people in training and in development. The second one, I found it really interesting, is that the ability to change the level playing field by focusing on something that is core, that sits at the heart of the business. The example that he narrated to us was about the engine of the car, which is at the core of the car itself, rather than everything else, which is an accessory, for example, the seats or the fabric or many other components. So the company focused on the core and established its supremacy by innovation. And the third one, which I really like, is to change the battlefield and dominate it by focusing on a completely different set of product range and then establish the prominence. For example, in 18 plus MVA, the company was able to successfully create a niche and That's why the competition is not able to catch up with them and leaving everybody else in the 6 to 18 MBA category. And that's really inspiring. Thank you very much for watching this episode. And thank you so much for having spared time. I know it's a weekend, but you spared time for us on a Saturday morning. And thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. And thank you for coming. We really love having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We will keep bringing to you the Pathfinders success stories week after week. Continue to watch. And until the next week's episode, keep scaling up.